compositions, Namami Gange and Mera Ram Mera Pran, and of course Vande Bharatambe. They're amazing. And we had the opportunity to listen to you very recently at the Prestige Kode Arts Center. And that was an amazing performance, really. So a little bit about Namami Gange and how, I mean, we've heard your interviews before. I know that it was after the call or after Modi ji's speech in the US, was it?
Right.
Yeah. How did...
Madison Square.
Yeah?
Madison Square.
Madison Square, that's right. When you met Modi ji to present your song, what did it feel like? And could you please sing the song as you presented it to Modi ji?
So with respect to the composition itself, I think like you rightly pointed out, because if we start talking about it, that experience is, unbelievable, something that we will cherish for our lives. The whole experience. The production, of course, took close to 2.5 years, right from conceptualization to the funding to the post-production to the shoot to everything. I remember we performed this for Modi ji at Dubai. That was the first time that we were able to perform it in front of him. When he was there for an event, it happened at the Dubai Cricket Stadium. I mean, I can just put it across as goosebumps. Because you have 50,000 people waiting, and you're in Dubai, a foreign country, you're sitting there, and Modi ji walks in, and the whole crowd goes, Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So it was a moment that, to be part of an event like this, to be part of a cause that is very close to our hearts, and rendering it on a platform like that. As a musician, as a creator, you really cannot ask for anything more than that. It is, and for us, productions have never been a planned process. Productions have always been inspired by events. So Namami Gange was inspired by the speech. Vande Bharatambe was inspired by the, the surgical strikes that happened and all the unwanted noise that happened in the media. We wanted to put out our message to the Indian Armed Forces, sharing the thoughts of, I think, almost the entire population of the country would have seconded us on that very same thought that, we completely trust our army to take care of the nation.
So he's referring to the times when the Balakot strikes happened. The first time in our life that we saw surgical strikes done by the Indian Army. And it was unprecedented, and it really hurt us when a certain segment of the society started doubting our own defense system. And as I said, given the background we have with our school, where Nalli ma'am was also a war heroine. So, it just inspired us to come up with that composition. And this is already an existing composition tuned by, written also by Sashi Kumar ji?
No, written by Madhavan Nair.
And tuned by Sashi Kumar
by
ji, right?
Sashi Kumar.
So we got, one thing about Chennai is that 2 minutes is all you need to assemble an amazing array of artists. So 2 minutes we had among the best team to help us out with the production, and the recording was done. And thankfully, when we spoke to our friends in the defense department, they gave us some unbelievable footages, which is what you will see in the song. And for us, many things were special about that song, but something as musicians that was very special. If you go back and watch this song, it's Vande Bharatambe, you will find that there is one segment where the army is marching for Mishra Chapu. Okay, so Mishra Chapu is takkadimi. You hardly expect the army to march in that talam, but it has happened that way, and we've captured that in the song. So Namami Gange, Vande Bharatambe. About Namami Gange, one more thing is, apart from the fact that we've been fortunate to do the song, it's also a fact that, we are ambassadors of the Clean Ganga movement in our own rights. We all are. We all are ambassadors of our culture, our rivers, our natural resources. And believe me, it's the most important duty of all of us, in whatever little way, to safeguard our natural resources for generations and generations to come. Namami Gange was the first time our eyes opened to the fact that here is this unbelievable natural resource that we have. Just to give you one scientific fact about Namami Gange, about Ganga, it's the only water in the world. It's been scientifically proven. You take water from Ganga, you keep it aside for 100 years, nothing happens to the water. This is scientifically proven. So, this is the kind of natural resources we have. So, in whatever little way we need to contribute towards that.
No, I was amazed when I was listening to that interview with Srimati Sudhar Raghunathan, and they mentioned how Namami Gange came about.
They themselves went to the to Gangotri and then to the Gomukh Glacier. They trekked to the Gomukh Glacier. Can you believe that? They actually trekked to the Gomukh Glacier, saw where Ganga sort of originated from, tracked the entire, probably the entire course of Ganga,
so
or up to
all through the 5 states and the 2,500 odd kilometers.
So I mean, this is what they've done in order to bring about this beautiful production of Namami Gange. And when they sing that, you can't stop the patriotism in your heart flowing. So I'd request them to just sing that throw in their voice, that beautiful Namami Gange. And I think we all must feel the sense of patriotism immediately.
And in fact, even in terms of one interesting factor, so sometimes, compositions are, we firmly believe as musicians, there are only so many things that you can do as a composer. What typically can happen is when you have a composition in mind, the way the whole composition folded out is we initially had the tune in mind. The tune came in first, and then we were looking at, okay, what lyrics are we going to put in there? And then we said, okay, Namami Gange is the name of the movement, and that is what people need to hear the maximum. So that became the chorus part. That was pretty clear. With respect to the tune, there was as we were discussing, there was a thought that came in where we said, Adi Shankaracharya has written about everything. 100% he's written something about Ganga. And we just hit a search on Google and Gangashtakam came out. And then we picked up one of the stanzas where it says Prasida Prasida, because that's the whole point of the song, where we are asking for Ma Ganga to be pleased by the efforts. So we selected that particular line, and you wouldn't believe it. There's a beautiful quote by Satya Sai Baba where he says, coincidence is an incident where God chooses to be anonymous. So it was one such case, call it coincidence, call it a miracle. We picked up the Gangashtakam, that particular stanza, and superimposed it on the tune we had in mind. We didn't have to change one beat out of it. Everything fell into place exactly on the beat. So that's the first stanza of the Namami Gange anthem.
Such divinity and universe coming together to make things happen. Please.
Bhagavati tavati re niramatra shanogam. Bhagavati tavati re niramatra shanogam. Vigada vishaya trishna Krishna maradayami. Vigada vishaya trishna Krishna maradayami. Sakala kalusha bhange Swarga sobana sange. Sakala kalusha bhange Swarga sobana sange. Taranadara tarange Devi Gange Prasida 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 Namami Gange 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 Namami Gange.
Beautiful. When you close your eyes listening to this, I'm sure you will visualize the Gomukh Glacier, the beautiful the rafting waters, Varanasi Ghats, and the beauty of just that beautiful river flowing through and cleansing so much of India. Thank you so much for that.
Sir, so the current state that you're in as a Carnatic singer, since Carnatic music has become it's not something that's as popular as it's supposed to be for the amount of divinity it contains. So right now, for Carnatic singers, you're really, really popular. But would you ever trade the opportunity that you're in? Would you ever trade the place that you're in now to be someone as famous as Taylor Swift, but take up pop music?
Okay. So first of all, divinity and popularity need not coexist. They are very different things. But nothing in the seven worlds we will trade this for. Because the popularity part is just a byproduct, right? The most important part about being a classical musician, be it Carnatic or Hindustani and Carnatic are one and the same. They're Indian music. So what Indian music does is something which no other, I cannot generalize this, but let's say pop music is pop music. So, just kidding, huh? So, anyway, so, the Indian music has got the roots where? Can you tell me, Srividya? Where? Indian music comes from where? Samavedam, isn't it? So, the power of Indian music is such that it can take your attention inwards. All right? So, when you delve inwards, the kind of calmness, peace that you get is something that cannot be explained in words. All right? So, to answer your question in a simple way, not for anything in the seven worlds.
So any awards that you particularly are fond of because they've contributed immensely to the upliftment of the society?
I think Sri Krishna would agree with me on this. For us, the one award that's been very special is about a few years back. Our school has the Alumni Award called the Gurudakina Award. So the Gurudakina Award is instituted. Again, a major decision maker is Nalini Miss. And it is given to students who've, kept up the name of the school and, paid back in one way or the other. Not something that we thought we'd ever get in our lives, but as it happened, we must have done something right to get that award from Nalini Miss, who used to... from Nallimas, who used to, we used to get into a lot of trouble with. So it was good to see the teachers gathered when the Gurudakina Award was being given, and we had an amazing time as the award was given to us.
And Nalini Miss herself gave it to you.
Absolutely.
We should break into this song because it's very special to us. Yeah. So for this, when the award was given, there was a concert arranged too, and we had the entire group of teachers who taught us, or let's say at least 80% of them sitting in the front. And during the concert...
This was which year, sorry?
A decade back.
A
decade back.
Yeah.
And you had all your school teachers there?
Absolutely. I think most of them are there. The thing that we've seen with teachers is they look exactly the same as when we left school.
Yeah, that's how we perceive it, right? They look exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
So we would like to sing this song, which is, we'll sing the song and then we'll tell you what it is. So just a few lines of the song. Punya Shubharamba Pujite Vidya Vinodini Bhumike Sakala Charajara Karinili Shrita Jana Panini Medini Hari Shri Hari Shri Hari Shri.
Can you believe that? They actually composed a song.
No. I'll explain. So we didn't compose this. So what this song is our school song. So this is the school song which was composed by Jose sir. why we wanted to sing this now is we were talking about that award, we were talking about that particular concert, and we sang this song. Believe me, when we opened our eyes after this song, every teacher, they were all crying. It was such a touching moment. I don't know how we escaped by not crying ourselves on the stage. Somehow we managed it. But it was such a touching moment. And the blessings from each of them after the concert, where they came and told us, you know, you guys have touched our hearts. It means the whole world to us. Yeah. Otherwise, to supplement the answer, there have been every award. We respect them and we totally appreciate it. Very special award, I would also talk about the Ishai Peruli from Karthik Fine Arts because that was the first major award that came our way. And our students here, there are quite a few of them here. Guys, you have to realize that awards are not what we practice for. They are all byproducts. Believe me, even concerts are an excuse to practice. It's not the other way around. You don't practice for concerts. Concerts you need to do because money has to come in so that you can practice. Nobody will ask you why you're practicing. Okay, so having said that, the other major award that came our way was the Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar, which again was very special because as youngsters we've seen our father tour with Dr. L. Subramaniam and Ustad Bismillah Khan ji to various parts of the world, and they performed extensive jugalbandis. So to receive an award in the great Ustad ji's name, and that again was at a pan-India level, so it really meant so much to us.
And this is not the case only with us. Any musician or creative artist worth the salt. Awards are great. I mean, it's a recognition. We respect them. But if you were to put awards and people liking what you're doing on two separate sides of a balance, I think for us, what really gives us the adrenaline rush, what really gives us the kick is when we come to concerts and when we see a full house, when we see people enjoying the music, the myriad of emotions that we see in the audience. And in fact, one of the reasons why we also make it a point to ask the auditorium to switch on the lights so that we can see the audience is exactly that, because ultimately there cannot be a bigger award to any performing artist than seeing that when he is performing on the stage, the emotions that he carries within himself, or the bhava that he carries within himself is getting transferred to the audience, is ultimately what all of us tremendously enjoy. So that I think is, thanks a lot for your kind words, but these are the little moments that make us want to wake up tomorrow morning and practice even harder.
No, we see that happening today. Thanks to all of you for being here and exchanging this beautiful emotional dialogue. And I must thank them for making this happen. So thank you very much, all of you. Now moving on to some life choices, hobbies, and also well-being. These are some insights we would like to get from you. You talked about rigorous practice sessions all through your life. Yes. You did your chartered accountancy. It was one of the most difficult exams to crack, the whatever levels of exams there are. And you did that many hours of practice while you were preparing for your chartered accountancy. How did this all come about? How are you balancing studies with your music, especially for the youngsters here? There's always this, dilemma whether they should pursue music as a profession, hobby, how to pursue music, continue to pursue music in their high school years, college years, when they are pursuing careers and professions. What advice would you have for such youngsters?
I'll be happy to answer that. And 200% Ramkumar is going to agree with me on that. So let me start this way, a little pessimistic way of presenting things, but let me start this way. The biggest mistake anybody can do, especially one who's learning music, is to stop it in between for higher studies. It's a very bad mistake because years have gone in to mold you to where you are. And don't forget that it is not just your effort. The Guru has put in so many hours to mold you into what you are. And you tell him, I have my 10th exam, I have my CA exam, so I'm not going to practice for 1 year. Forget about that aspect, but it's the biggest disservice you can do for yourself. There is one more reason why I'm saying this, because contrary to what some of them think, music will actually help you to be a better student. On the day of our CA examinations, we have sung for 1 hour and then gone to the exam hall. And I have seen with our own eyes, we've seen some of our classmates or CA batchmates who were exemplary students. On any given day, you ask us 10 questions, we will know one, they will know all the 10. Okay? But on the day of the examination, this we've witnessed. The poor things, they see the question paper and they get super tensed and they completely flunk the exam. Whereas when we see the question paper, there is Kamboji running inside. Honestly, there is Kamboji or Mohanam or some Ragam, and even if it's a tough question, it's okay. Believe me. And that is the attitude you need to crack anything in life. So do not. Thank you. These are personal experiences, so I can vouch for it. Music, especially Indian classical music, will never come in the way of anybody's studies. It will only enhance it.
It's a combination of maths, memory,
Unbelievable.
everything
You know,
else
today we have
together.
so much of research about the right side of the brain, left side of the brain. We did the Data Varishay, right? If there is another side of the brain, that also has to work. So much of work is involved when you sing Data Varishay.
In fact, again, one of the things that we've honestly been blessed with is two entities in our lives that have remained a constant. One is our Ishta Devatai, Hanuman. So our practice, our education, our day starts and ends with him. And to the extent that's possible, from our perspective, at least the intention is always to, surrender to him and ask him to make your decisions, do your work. He will make the decisions. And I heard this beautiful quote when it comes to Hanuman about how Hanuman not only grants you what is good for you, but he also makes sure that if something is going to be good short term but not good long term, he will ensure that that particular door is shut and you can keep kicking at that door. He'll ensure you cannot open it. So short term disappointment for long term gain is his way, and we've seen this in our life. Hanuman has been a constant presence in our lives in multiple ways. The second entity is, of course, all the gurus, be it our academics, be it our music, wherever it is, the gurus have played such an important part. So, and in a way that they don't even make it like a serious conversation. Our first class with Lakshman sir, who we call Swami sir, he was heading the costing department in ONGC. And after retirement, he decided that he will start teaching students for CA. So our first class was with Swami sir for our costing. And obviously, like any other student of CA, there was a little bit of pressure that there's so much of work to do. There are so many lessons to study and things like that. He starts his class by saying, if you're studying CA, you have two options. One is you will clear your exam, in which case you will be a chartered accountant. The second option is, don't worry, if you don't clear, you will still be a shattered accountant. So it put us at ease. The minute we entered the room, for us it was more like, this is not the end of life or anything. You can always look at CA, give it an effort, and if you get through. So the two reasons why we did that is essentially because nobody is going to question you even if you don't get through that course, because anyway only 2% gets through. So even if you don't get through, it's okay. I'm 98% of the remaining. And by chance, if you get through, you belong to a much more premium class. So that is ideally why we thought about CA. But today, jokes apart, honestly, we tell all our students that set your time aside in such a manner that not practicing is not an excuse. Not working hard in your studies is also not an excuse. Cut down on your phone time, cut down on your chats, cut down on watching unwanted television. All that can take a backseat. You can still do that. If you want to really go and do something, get out of the house, do some physical sports. That's okay. If you want to play cricket, go out and play. If you want to play badminton, go and do that. But don't please sit inside the house and spend hours and hours together smashing Pakistani bowlers for sixers, because that will happen only in games if you're going to play on the video game. Get out there and try to make sure that there is a good combination of academics, some kind of an art form, some kind of a sport for you to always fall back on. Because what then happens is, something that happens in one particular chosen part is not going to really upset you. On the other, it's about not putting all the eggs in one basket. You know, so CA doesn't work out, music is there. Thankfully, you know, music is where we were meant to be, where we were destined to be. But however, it took us 2004, we moved to Chennai. From 2004 to 14, both of us were working in multinational corporations. It was a lot of hard work. We had to go to office at 8 o'clock, 9, and when we were working in audit Big Fours, the work timing, if you leave at 7 or 8 p.m.
I remember working for Pricewaterhouse very briefly. So this is PwC, as you all know. So one day I asked the manager, does PwC stand for PricewaterhouseCoopers, or does it mean please work continuously? So anyway, you know, but to sum it up, I think it's very fair to conclude that, you know, music is for life. Okay, it's if you become a professional, well and good, but it is definitely for life. I mean, this is the best friend you can have. You just close yourself in a room and sing or listen to some music. You are a different person, right? So,
I think a great guy.
Just one more thing. Sorry, for students here who are on, let's say in crossroads, they have examinations, they're pondering over whether should I take a break, etc., etc. I just want to give you one science also behind why we tell you not to take a break, because the vocal cord, okay, the vocal cord, especially for singers, I'm sure for instrumentalists also the muscle memory is very important, but the vocal cords, it's just like your body just like the body of an athlete, okay? So you need to keep it flexible. Let's say you work 10 years to keep your body very flexible and you don't do anything for 2 years. Your muscles are sore. The flexibility is gone. Vocal cords, this applies even more importantly. In Tamil, there's a very beautiful saying, Pada pada ragam, muda muda rogam. It means the more you sing, there is ragam. The more you close your mouth, there is rogam. So stopping singing is never an excuse.
So I think I'll also just wrap that up with, there was this great man who once said, because music is for life, not merely for a living. And that great man is sitting right next to me.
Oh, no. No, it was, thanks for being nice to me, but it is actually a saying of Bhagwan Sati Sai Baba, who said education is not for living, not for mere living, but for life.
I take back the credits.
So you talked about Ishtadevata, Hanuman. And I mean, we all know the shlokam which goes Manojavam Maruti Tulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanara Yudha Mukhyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Buddhir Balam Yasho Dhairyam Nirbhayatvam Arogyata Ajadyam Vak Patutvam Cha Sri Hanumat Smaranat Bhavet. So that's a beautiful shlokam that it talks about all the qualities that you could get from just thinking of Hanuman. And Ajadyam in that particular shlokam doesn't have an English equivalent. Ajadyam is not having lethargy,
Correct.
just being active and full of spurti all through. With that in the background, could you just sing us a few lines of Hanuman Kriti or Hanuman Shlokam?
Will do. And it's also very apt to mention here that Hanumanji is an expert musician. Every text that talks about Hanumanji, they mention that he's an expert musician. The Ragam Todi, the original name is Hanumat Todi. So Hanumanji is, you know, any musician you have to, anything in life you have to follow at his feet, more so if you're a musician. Veera Hanumade Namo Namo Veera Hanumade Namo Namo Veera Hanumade Namo Namo Maruta Tanaya 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 Namo Namo Veera Hanumade Namo Namo
सरसीरुह वदना सरसीरुह वदना श्रीरामचन्द्र चरण सरसीरुह वदना श्रीरामचन्द्र चरण सरसीरुह वदना श्रीरामचन्द्र चरण सरसीरुह वदना श्रीरामचन्द्र चरण क्रूर राक्षसारिहरण सर्वविद्यादान निपुण क्रूर राक्षसारिहरण सर्वविद्यादान निपुण परमंत्र विनाशकरण परमंत्र विनाशकरण परमंत्र विनाशकरण परमंत्र विनाशकरण परमंत्र विनाशकरण कवि विनुत गुरु गुह स्मरण वीर हनुमदेव नमो परमंत्र विनाशकरण कवि विनुत गुरु गुह स्मरण वीर हनुमदेव नमो नमो मारुततनय नमो नमो वीर हनुमदेव नमो नमो
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram. It's
Jai Shri
Saturday
Ram.
today.
Wow, wow.
It's a Saturday today.
Right.
So, very appropriate,
It's
very apt.
the
Thank you.
Madhyama Kalam in this Kirtanam. It talks about Paramantra Vinashakarana. So it means any ill effects, that can be caused by numerous reasons, Hanumanji takes care. Paramantra Vinashakarana.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Whew. To start talking again is a challenge. Right. Just about life choices and well-being. How do you balance the demands of all your busy performance schedule with your family life, parenting children, and your own well-being?
You may think I'm being cheeky here, but honest answer is don't think about it. Just go with the flow, honestly, because you think you take a notepad, write things, today I have to do this, tomorrow I'll do 100% you will not do it. It's better, heart of hearts, if we can pray that we be sincere in whatever we do, I think there is definitely a power that takes care of all this. Automatically it all falls in place. I'm not being cheeky, honest answer.
Yeah, I think not much to add, except that again, touchwood, thanks for the amazing support that the family has given us. It is a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of hard work to, for people in the house to take care of kids, and thanks to both our wives, Manni, Uma, and my wife is Rama, and also our mom, who all the three of them run the houses, and we cannot think of how tough it is, because what we are doing right now is not really challenging at all, but for them to, the kind of work that they do and ensure that we have an ambience for our career. And there are days when, we are literally sitting on the sofa at home and they're talking to us. We are physically present, but we are literally seeing through people. They're talking, and sometimes we are not even processing it. There's so much of thoughts that go in the mind, and thanks to them for understanding that it is not intentional, it is just part of our work. Please make sure you play this part on the edited version.
Yeah, he's scored a lot of brownie points. So I'm going to record separately after the show. I'll say a lot of things about Uma and Rama. Please record that also.
Certainly. Please make a note of that.
But, that's very valid, I mean, jokes apart. And he brought in Amma's name. So I should also let you know that if there is one person who's gone through the whole process, I won't call it sacrifice, because she's extremely delighted to see where we are today. So if it is a sacrifice, I think she's glad that it's 200% worth it. It's her dream to see us in the music field from day one. I remember the day before one of us was born, she had painted the pictures of the Trimurtis. And Tyagaraja Swami Dikshitar and Shyama Shastrigal. And there have been many years in Trichur, say 20, 30 years, easily, where regularly the Tyagaraja Swami Jayanti has been conducted at our family, in the family house. And Amma would be like, the person preparing the dishes, making sure the arrangements are done. And Appa obviously, worrying about the coordination, fund situation. There have been umpteen number of times where one day before the event, let's say X amount is required for the festival. One day before the festival, we have minus 20X balance. Tyagaraja Swami's grace, every single time the festival happens, there is no shortage of funds. This is not once or twice. It's happened so many times. So, I'll just say one more thing. I can only talk with respect to music here. There is this very famous parable of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, where he talks about a sick man. And the only way this sick man can get cured, there are so many conditions he gives. I remember 3 or 4. He says, the sick man has to find a herb that will be under a particular tree, okay? And it has to be raining. And as it rains, there has to be a thunder and lightning happening. And when that lightning happens and when it brightens this particular stone, there has to be a snake with a hood over the stone. At that time, if the person escapes the snake's bite and takes the stone and consumes it, he will get better. Okay? And he goes on to say, if a person is sincere, this will happen. He says if a person is absolutely sincere that he needs to get that stone, all these conditions will get fulfilled. Believe me, to be into the Carnatic, all of us here, everybody here, to be in this room, to be talking about Carnatic music, minuscule percentage of the world gets to do it. So if you look at the probability, so many things have actually happened for us.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I think we all have to pat ourselves on our backs to be, fortunate enough to be here today. As it said, the universe conspires to make it happen. Beautiful. What about well-being? I mean, how do you inculcate looking after your body in such situations, in such challenging situations, trips, tours, flights, jet lags, performance practices, etc.?
I will take a minute to say something and then I'll leave it to Ramkumar. So especially because our brother Shrivats is here. I remember many years ago when we met him for the first time, he said something which has stuck with us. He said, guys, you're traveling a lot. You're eating different kind of food, etc., etc. And he said, one thing you need to take care. Do whatever you want. But one thing you need to take care is get your quota of sleep. And he always insisted that if you have a concert in Bangalore tonight, then make sure you don't go back the same day. Take a room, rest, get up at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever the rest the body needs. Then you start. This one advice, we've taken it very, very seriously, and I'm sure it's got a lot of rewards.
Dr. Shrivats, an applause for you. I think, for having, everybody will play in someone's life, and obviously you've been a very important player in their life for, making them understand what sleep is all about and how important a good 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep is for anybody, for that matter.
And
Eat, move, sleep.
This is more important for people who travel like us. Yeah. I think it's because people turn a blind eye to this, because I've seen artists who have accepted concerts even when they have a choice. If you don't have a choice, it's a different thing. Even when they have a choice, they push their body to the limits, they travel helter-skelter. So yeah,
For me, I think it's been more about I like my weekly quota of cricket. I still play a lot of cricket. I make sure that I hit the nets.
Did you know
most
that?
of the
Did all
days.
of you know that he's a cricketer too? You did? Okay, some of you did. Right.
So I make sure that I hit the nets at least 2 to 3 times in a week. And there's a habit that I got into, especially during the COVID times, because you could not gather with people. But thankfully, technology in cricket has improved that you can get a bowling machine on hire. So I make sure that I do that, and weekly, one day, there's a proper, a leather ball cricket match that I go and play. Primarily because I think even when you're walking or hitting the gym or on a treadmill or working out or whatever, there's still one part of our mind that's always wired to work. So there's always one part of the mind that keeps thinking about, okay, what's the next concert? Are the flights done? Are the accommodations taken care of? When are we getting there? What is the list going to be? What do we have to practice? Is there another song to learn? And all of this. So the only time that I find that I get that complete blank space as far as my mind is concerned is when I'm either in a racket sports or in cricket, because that 6 hours my phone is switched off. I'm just focusing on the ball and bat. I'm in the ground. There's a complete it's a complete detox for me. And I've personally found the days that, or the weeks that I'm able to rigorously stick to this particular schedule, my stress levels are really, really low. Nothing really stresses me out. So, of course, when we go to US or other places, you don't get this. So there it is more like walking. Most of the houses have TT and snooker. So we play
What about
that
you?
to get out of it.
Pretty much, I don't hit the nets. Off late I've found that the best way I can take care of things is to go for a walk, because it's become kind of a necessity for me, because it completely frees my mind. The mind space is good after a good walk. So that's one thing that happens, and it's pretty much possible in between all the travel.
Yeah.
I tried gymming, I tried doing certain other things, but then what would happen is every time there's a concert, there's a break. But there is no excuse for not walking.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Can be done anywhere, anytime.
Absolutely. And I also heard this interview of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. We are huge avid fans of cricket, so as many of you know. So there was this interesting interview of MS Dhoni where he says, after a point of time in any career, what is more important than your practice is recovery. It's so true. Like, let's say there are 2 back-to-back concerts. There are exceptions for every rule. I've heard Bhimsen Joshi sir would finish a 6-hour concert, go back home and practice immediately for 6 hours. So those are exceptions. Normally speaking, it's important to recover whatever you need to do, and very importantly for us, I don't even want to think about the next generation, but even for us, I think the biggest problem is digital toxin. Every time you look at the phone, personally for me, days where I'm not watched much of the screen, I sleep far better. So it's pretty much relevant, being taking care of that aspect.
Extremely relevant. Digital detox is the matter of the century.
And music comes to your rescue, because music, if you sing, you are away from gadgets. If you listen also without watching something else parallelly, again you are away from gadgets. So it really helps.
True. We have Mr. Krishna Raghavan in our audience today, who happens to be an avid runner, and he was our previous podcast guest, Mr.
Wow.
Krishna Raghavan. And he, despite his profession, quite a busy professional schedule, goes running, runs marathons, and wakes up at 4 in the morning for his routine. So I think you would agree with everything that they've said. Now, coming to a little bit about technology, social media, and the future on the same lines. How has social media changed the way you connect with your audience in the last few years? And how do you share your music? What's your methodology when you share your music or thoughts on social media? How has it helped you grow?
I think social media is like salt. You need to have it, but don't overdo it. In the sense that you can say in the next interview, one great man once said. So, with social media, it's important again to go back to this concept of karmanyevadikaraste. It's because we've seen in our experience there are projects that we've worked on day in and day out, spent a lot of energy on, and it sometimes doesn't give you the same reactions that something like, for example, me and Sri Krishna are going by car to the nearest venue, and we're just picking up the phone, putting it up in a weird, completely weird angle like this, and we're singing, and that video will go viral for some reason. So there's no connection of what people will like, what people won't like. Social media is just a way to connect with people, to ensure that there's always a larger space in which your music can go. It is a way to also communicate what your ideology on certain things are, because it becomes very pertinent in today's world that you cannot be a cat on the fence. It's very important to take a side on most of the things. I'm not talking about Russia and Ukraine, that doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter which side I take. But when it comes to matters pertaining to the art form that you're involved in, pertaining to the profession or the career that you're involved in, you're not just making a decision or putting out an ideology for yourself. You're also trying to, TBOSM today has about 150 to 200 students in there. So what you do in your career is also in one way or the other going to influence the way your students, your followers are going to think about you, or how they would approach a particular art form as something like Carnatic music. So social media comes in extremely handy for that, where you can put out what your messages are. There's no time limitation. There's no requirement of too much of a technological setup. You can just pick up a camera, make sure that you're recording what you want and communicating, and it becomes we've had so many important conversations on social media with people where they come back with a genuine question, something that they thought was something else because they quite didn't understand what the concept involved was. And so it gives you that free space where, without really meeting that person directly, you still can communicate your point across to that person. To that extent, I find social media really important.
See, it's very important. You cannot take away the impact of social media. I don't think it's possible anymore, okay, because you reach out to so many people, as he said. The thing is, it's too powerful that an anecdote comes to my mind about how a student asked, somebody asked the great legendary Palakkad Mani Iyer, the virtuoso, the legendary Mridangam Vidwan, Palakkad Mani Iyer. They asked him, how many years does it take to learn the Mridangam? Okay. And he replied, he said, it will take a short while to teach him what to play. The man got very happy. Oh, okay, fine. So I'll start learning. Then he said, no, I'm not done. But it's going to take me a lifetime to teach you what not to play. This is so true with social media and everything around us. I think God has, decided to test this generation to the limit, because moderation, if that word has any value, I think this generation faces the biggest challenge, because everything is available and you need to know where to stop.
Information obesity, and there's no restraint on that.
So it's like this, where somebody said, we are teetotalers, it's just for joke, okay? We are absolute teetotalers, but somebody said when they read about the ill effects of drinking, they stopped reading. So the information available out there is so vast that you need guidance, to be honest.
By the way, just that one thing, going back to that question, I have to put it on record. Another very important aspect of well-being is make sure you have your weekly pizza.
Right. More about that later. Yeah. I think now that we are entering, you talked about globalization in the 90s, internet took us, by storm. And now artificial intelligence is on its way, and there's no denying it. What are your thoughts on the role of AI in Carnatic music? Do you see it as a threat, a tool, or an opportunity for musicians and listeners? How do you envisage AI coming into Carnatic music particularly?
It's yet to be seen. There are a lot of facets of Carnatic music that's very difficult for even advanced AI to replicate. So we have to wait and watch what happens there. But two things that immediately come to my mind is, any musician you meet, if somebody, let's say somebody sings in front of us today, the way a trained ear would analyze that musician, especially with respect to Carnatic or Hindustani, Indian classical music, is they will say the student or the person has the practice. They've practiced very well, they've got the voice culture going, etc., etc. So this is one aspect. But then they will say, all this is there, but it is not appealing. Let's suppose. So what is that thing? Somebody has great stage presence, good personality, sings very well, the right contacts, the right exposure, but doesn't appeal. Okay? Soul. So the Ishvara Tattvam within. Okay? This is something which the AI can never replicate.
Look at that. That gives us all humans something to, feel reassured about. Thank you so much. Thank you.
To add to that, I think AI, end of the day, as it tells you, it is artificial intelligence. It cannot be more intelligent than the creator, right? And the way it works, even logically, is if I'm able to create a database table with a set of options and then code something to pick up a particular value from those choices of tables, I need to be first clear about how many choices are there. Right? If I sing a Kalyani today and I sing a Kalyani 5 minutes later, these two won't even be connecting to each other. So Manodharmam in itself, thankfully, because Carnatic music from a logical perspective, because it's about 70 to 80% of improvisation. And Manodharmam in itself is defined by two aspects. One is, it is momentary. The second is, if you are able to repeat it 5 minutes later, then it is not momentary, thereby it is not Manodharmam. Right? So, when a student comes and asks, can you teach me Manodharmam? The answer we give is, if I teach you Manodharmam, then you're singing my Manodharmam. It is not your Manodharmam. Right? So, similarly, AI can possibly mimic the voice. It can possibly repeat a few sangadis that I basically key in. Let's say, Trichur Brothers AI. And we key in 20 sangadis for Kalyani. Alright, I can guarantee you 2 concerts later, people buying the tickets will say, where are the real Trichur Brothers? So it is not easy to, that's where the creative art space is going to be very difficult for AI to take. But of course, where we can use AI.
As a tool, how do you foresee
of course,
it as a tool?
Of course, as a tool, AI can be utilized majorly towards learning. For learning, AI is going to be amazing because there are enough, there's enough technology today where it can track your voice and go back saying in this part, this is the note that you have to be. Now that's a question of frequency. Anything to do with frequencies, anything that is definable, AI will come in handy. So it's more of a post-event tool as far as improvisational music is concerned. Something happens and you can say, hey, you know what? This is what happened. So here's the analytics on that. You try to sing so many sangadis. There were so many notes on this particular sangadi, out of the 10 notes, 9 notes were spot on the space. There was 1 note which was slightly off. And then I can use that to basically practice the 10th note to ensure that my perfection on that is there. So it's a post-event tool. It can never be a performance tool.
Well said indeed. Yeah. No, we face that as doctors, I mean, we talk about AI being a threat for radio diagnosis or whatever. But as you rightly said, the human empathy or the human sort of intuition doesn't come into play when it's, solely based on AI. There has to be a human in the chain, in the entire chain. And you also talked about AI is essentially a child now, and we're all parents of it. So it's our responsibility to train it the right way so that it picks up things in the future, right? For any field for that matter. Now we know that research is heavily biased towards in China or US research, in medical research, for example. How is it that you can contribute to get a nice database for Carnatic music so that in the future the AI can help the future generations in Carnatic music?
So we are in the process of building natural AIs. There are around 160 of them with us right now, TBOSM students. So So, I mean, I think that's the easiest way to. I understand your question, but honestly, if you think about why do we have Tyagaraja Swami Kirtanams today? It's because the Sishyas took the pain to write it down, pass it on from generation to generation through the process of hearing, etc. But I get your question. Definitely, one of the things which we are doing is like off late, for the last 2-3 years, we've made it a point to record each and every concert. Each and every concert, wherever possible, any training sessions are recorded. And we have a team that analyzes the data and puts them in their place. So posterity's sake, it'll definitely be useful because we are using what Shemmangudi Mama did, what GNB did, what Chembai Bhagavatar did. So they have also done it. They also archived and kept it ready for us. So
Thank you for that. And in this rapidly changing tech-driven world, how do you envisage the future of Carnatic music?
it's phenomenal.
Lines.
Phenomenal because
Yeah.
it's no longer a choice. I tell you, it's no longer a choice. It's become a necessity for many people for your mental well-being. Because it's the easiest way to connect. And especially what we see when we travel abroad is now we have second generation, third generation Indians living abroad, millions of them. And all these Indians, they feel the easiest way to connect to our roots is Carnatic music. Because you learn Ranganayakam, Dikshitar's Kirtanam, you know everything about Sridangam. You learn Arunachalanatam, you know everything about Tiruvannamalai. It's like, it's very interesting too. So nobody feels like, oh, I'm made to sit in a room, asked to learn about Indian culture. You enjoy the whole process and you get connected. So it's a necessity. Where it's going now, if this trajectory continues, it's fantastic. It's phenomenal because between some analysis that we get to talk about when we meet musicians from across the world is that if you put all classical music art forms in the world, I'm not talking just about Hindustani Carnatic, put any classical music art forms from the world in a basket. The way Carnatic music is growing is no comparison. It's way out. It's evolving at a super rapid pace. Small example, 10 years back we toured the United States, there were 20 sabhas. Today there are 2,000 sabhas. 2,000 plus. Think about Bangalore. 10 years back, how many concerts were happening? Today, see, people talk about crowd. Sometimes they say in a particular concert, crowd is less. Arey, you have 1,000 concerts. Where will they come? Yeah, so it's a great thing, I think.
Well said. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I think we're coming to probably the last few questions of our interview, our podcast. What do you hope your legacy will be? You've talked about your students, but what do you hope your legacy will be, both as performers and as custodians of this beautiful, great tradition?
First of all, I hope we have a long way to go.
Of course. Legacy starts
I know, I'm
from
just
the
kidding. I'm just
beginning.
kidding.
That's a question we've really not thought about. And we'd like to keep it that way because I think if we are musicians today, if we are professional Carnatic musicians today, it is only because the passion stayed with us. There was no pressure thinking about the future, what we're going to leave back, etc. I would want to just stick to that and let Hanuman decide what the
flow.
legacy is going to be.
Let it flow.
Let it flow. Yes.
I would like to add to that. Definitely, certain decisions we've taken in our lives in the last 3-4 years also was to make sure that 30 years, 100 years down the line, we would like to be known as musicians on the right side of history. Because for us, this art form, this is from our hearts, what we're saying right now. See, this art form, it is true that people like us, we have taken it as a profession, doesn't take away the fact that this is meant for a higher purpose. In our scriptures, in the Sanatana Dharma, the art form is for one to go closer to the divine. Call it going closer to yourself, call it going closer to Paramatma, in whichever way we need to describe this. So if this element is taken out of the equation, then it is no longer, just doesn't add up. So that is one thing we'll be very conscious about in whatever little way we can. Tomorrow when somebody thinks of Trichur Brothers or their students, they should say, these guys, they respected the art form for what it stands for.
Thank you. Yeah. And we all believe that, don't we? We all certainly believe that. Thank you. And finally, reflections on a meaningful life. Our podcast is all about meaning, bringing meaning and insights from lives well lived, such as yours. What does a meaningful life mean to you, both as musicians and as individuals, each of you?
I need time to think.
After you. No, so first of all, my wife keeps telling me this. I'm extremely harsh on myself, very very harsh on myself. So the yardsticks, the benchmarks I have is whether it be my musical goals, whether it be my personality growths, whether it be my spiritual growth. I have very very high standards, and so I feel I am a total work in progress. So it's not even, I'm not even there to make a comment saying I've lived a a life to what I expect to be of great standard. So there's a lot of work happening.
You a Virgo?
My wife is. I am a Scorpion. So yeah. So honestly, again I'm going back to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He says there is this man in Calcutta who doesn't have space in his room for himself, and he invites 3 others to come and say, "Can we share the bed?" Okay. So honestly, I am a work in progress. So not in a position to comment on that. Honestly.
Yeah, I still don't have an answer. No, but I think the one thing that I think both of us are very clear about is we belong to a touchwood very very small section of people who've been blessed with the fact that our passion today is our profession. It's everybody's dream, and at any point of time, if the profession becomes a reason for any amount of stress, then the whole purpose of being in this profession is entirely lost. For that, we might as well go back to KPMG and Pricewaterhouse and deal in 23 hours meetings and come out. The reason why we are in music today, thankfully, it's been it's been very rewarding, mind space wise, financially and professionally, thankfully. So I think that happiness part of it is extremely important for me. We have to be able to wake up every morning looking forward to performing, looking forward to singing, looking forward to just being by the side of music. That alone for me is
That's
a
meaning.
meaningful life. Yes.
That's a meaningful
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Well said, well said. Music is meaning. Music is meaning. That's what they stand for, the Trichur Brothers. When you talk about, you rightly said, work-life balance, when work is life, or vice versa, passion is there all along. Nothing else matters. That itself is meaning to life, isn't it? Very well said. Thank you so much. And how do you, how do you hope to inspire through the journey? Can you just sing a song, maybe Harivar, anything which brings out the meaning of inspiration, motivation, anything on those lines? Or you could just sing one of your favorite songs, maybe Harivarast, if that's okay with you.
Panchamam ചാഞ്ചാടിയാടും മയിലോ മൃദു പഞ്ചമം പാടും കുയിലോ ചാഞ്ചാടിയാടും മയിലോ മൃദു പഞ്ചമം പാടും കുയിലോ എന്നുണ്ണി കൃഷ്ണൻ ജനിച്ചോ പാരിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ വേഷം ധരിച്ചോ പത്മനാഭൻ തൻ കൃപയോ മൂട്ടും ഭാഗ്യം വരുന്ന വഴിയോ മൂട്ടും ഭാഗ്യം വരുന്ന വഴിയോ രാമനീലമേഘശ്യാമ കോദണ്ഡരാമ രഘുകുലാബ്ധി സോമ പരന്താമ സാർവഭൗമ നീലമേഘശ്യാമ രഘുരാം രാം രാം രഘുരാം ജയ രാം 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 ജയ രാം രഘുരാം രാം രാം രഘുരാം ജയ രാം 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 ജയ രാം తల్లి తండ్రి గురువు నీవే తోడు నీడ నీవే తల్లి తండ్రి గురువు నీవే జాకు ఇక చాలను రామయ్య దాసులను బ్రోవక రామయ్య జాకు ఇక చాలను రామయ్య దాసులను బ్రోవక రామయ్య తెలియతరమా పలుకవశమా నీదు మహిమా రాఘవ రామ నీలమేఘశ్యామ కోదండ రామ రఘుకులాబ్ధి సోమ పరందామ సార్వభౌమ రాతినైన నారిని చేసే నీ దివ్య పాదము రాతినైన నారిని చేసే నీ దివ్య పాదము కోతినైన జ్ఞానిని చేసే నీ నామము నిన్న సరి దైవము లేదయ్యా నిన్నిదే నమ్మితి రామయ్యా నిన్న సరి దైవము లేదయ్యా నిన్నిదే నమ్మితి రామయ్యా తెలియదరమా పలుకవశమా నీదు మహిమా రాఘవ నీదు చరణం పాపహరణం మాకు శరణం రాఘవ రామ నీలమేఘశ్యామ కోదండ రామ రఘుకులాబ్ధి సోమ పరంధామ సార్వభౌమ రామ 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 Clap your hands. Louder. రామ 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 Ram 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 Ram
Ram Ram Ram Ram 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 Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram
Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram
Let's try this. Rama 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 Rama
Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama Rama
Rama Nila Megha Shyama Kodanda Rama Raghugulabdi Soma Parandama Sarvabhauma. Want Harivarasanam? Harivarasanam Vishwamohanam Haridadishwaram Aradhya Padukam Harivimardhanam Nityanartanam Hariharatmajam Devamashraye. All of us. Sharanamayappa Swami Sharanamayappa Sharanamayappa Swami Sharanamayappa Sharanamayappa Swami Sharanamayappa Sharanamayappa Swami Sharanamayappa Shrita Jana Priyam Chintitapradam Shruti Vibhushanam Sadhu Jivanam Shruti Manogaram Geetalalasam Hariharatmajam Devamashraye. Sharanamayappa Swami Sharanamayappa 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 Sharanamayappa Swami Sharanamayappa.
That sense of total surrender, it doesn't come from anywhere else. It just comes from their music. Thank you so much. And you obviously, there's evidence right in front of you as to how they do the. I couldn't. I mean, if you were singing in a different octave, and he's singing in another octave, I can't maintain that at all. I mean, that requires so much of, what shall I say, focus. How do you even do that? Amazing.
I'm not intending to answer that question. I know it was a rhetoric. Still, what comes to my mind is when they ask Sachin Tendulkar, cricket fans, right? So Sachin has to come sometime in the conversation. They ask Sachin Tendulkar, how is it that, this guy plays across the world, wherever he plays, whether it's Melbourne, whether it's the Lords, whether it's Dubai, whether it's India, he's always up to his sportsmanship. So he said that's because of the power of the Indian pitches. This is something he quoted, and for us, Carnatic music. That's the reason.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. I think my part of the interview is done. We go to the audience questions, and we have Srividya asked her question already. We have her mother, I think. This is Sita Lakshmi.
Namaskarams to one and all, and sirs. I have multiple similarities with the sir sitting here. I hail from Kerala, Palakkad district. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I'm an ardent devotee of Carnatic music. And I live my music journey through my son, whose future is bestowed in their hands. Coming to my question, one advice for the budding children who has the caliber and potential for singing to stay afloat in the musical journey, and the fact that there are a lot to do in academics as well as various distractions, the so-called Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Alphas and Millennials. What's your advice?
I'll just take a part of that question. Ramkumar will complete it. First of all, with that paper in your hand and reading out of it, I was reminded of the CA days. So it's as we explained a little while ago, the job of a guru in many ways, at least what we have learned from our gurus, the job of a guru is to show the student that there is happiness here. Whatever else you do, it's only a short-term fix. But the moment they realize that, okay, when I sit down and sing, I feel really good. I'm very happy. Which Vignesh, Sri Vidya, Nagendra, we have DBOSM teachers here, Aditi, Sharanya, Vaishnavi is here, Shweta is here, all these guys, SS, and many of the students here. I'm sure you feel that. So once that happens, see, nobody tells you, hey, tomorrow you have an exam, so don't eat, right? Don't drink water for 7 days because you have exams. Nobody says that because you need that for survival. So for me and Ramkumar, like many other musicians, it's a matter of survival. I'm not talking merely from a performance, professional point of view. For our sanity, we need music. For us to be sane, to be composed, we need music. So that has to happen. And only one thing I would like to add before I pass on to Ramkumar. The biggest responsibility as parents, even though that was not part of your question, is to the biggest responsibility for guardians, parents, is to make sure there's an ambience in the house for music. See, if the parents get up in the morning and they don't play Carnatic music at all, I'm being very polite here, they don't play Carnatic music at all, then how do you expect the children to take it? Let's say yours is a household which starts with Emma Suprabhatam and followed by 3 concerts. It's just, today we have the gadgets also, you just have to switch it on. And if the ambience is there, believe me, these things will automatically happen. Distractions, it's the other way around actually. How do I pursue Carnatic music with so many distractions? Let me reverse that question. How can you face distractions if you don't have Carnatic music?
We move on to the next question by Mr. T.N. Kaushik. Yes, please. You have the question with you, right? Please go ahead.
Namaskaram, sir. My question is about your performances. So we have seen such perfect sync between both of you on stage. So how do you foresee in real time what the other of you is going to sing on the stage?
It's the same way a batsman reacts to the ball. I mean, that's the best answer I can give you at this point of time because they are trained to do that. Sachin Tendulkar, Sehwag, or Kohli, or Dhoni, or Shubman Gill, these guys play easily 500 to 600 balls every day, varying paces. They have spot bowlers who come and bowl for them. So at that point of time, there can also be misses that can happen. The idea is to not dwell on the miss and to, if you think it is something that you can correct, we will make sure that we correct. But sometimes when improvisations are happening, there is a possibility that there can be a miss as well. With experience, what happens is 2 things happen. One is you are able to hit the middle of the bat most of the times. In case you don't read the ball well, then you keep a softer hand so that at least even if it edges. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that with experience, 95% of the time, merges, there's nothing discordant or anything. But the 5% of the time, if he's singing a sa and I'm going on a note where it is moving into slightly discordant territory, we know how also to withdraw before anybody else notices it. So it does happen. On stage, there are times when we have to pull back a little bit. So that can happen, but otherwise it's just practice in the sense that it's something that we've always sung together, we've always practiced together. The formative years have always been together. So when the Swara phrases are happening, it'll automatically just come in place. One person knows where the other person is. It's just the bro code. There's no further explanation I can give you on that.
Namrata, right, okay. Namrata Srinivasan has a question for you.
Also a duo, me and my twin sister, we used to sing earlier on. So now she's in a different continent. So I was curious to know, again, a duo singing question only. Have you ever sang by yourselves anywhere? That's one question. And the second thing is, do you also analyze your strengths and weaknesses? I suppose you must have different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to Carnatic music singing.
So, sorry, what was the first question? Whether we sing alone. So, professionally, we don't. That's a code we have. That's a code that we've stuck to and we will always stick to. Professionally, it's always the two of us together. Practice, of course, as we said in the beginning, right? It's important for anybody, whether they're duo singers or individual singers, to be by themselves and sing. Because to be alone and to sing in a room, you understand the way your voice works, which is extremely important. You know, people talk about voice culture and all that. I think the most important aspect of voice culture is to understand your voice, first of all. I mean, you need to know, I mean, for me to understand what my brother is, it has taken me 35 years. So to understand your voice, you need that much of time, understand. So spending time with your voice is extremely important. That's first part. Second part was? So we do analyze, but we analyze only the strengths. So call us, you know, the people who like to see the glass half full. So, and what also happens with duo singing is, more often than not, one person makes up for the other. That's a great advantage of duo singing, because there, obviously, you know, there are things which one brother can make up for, and the other brother can make up for something else. So I think these things kind of, maybe these don't even come to our knowledge because of the fact that we sing together, right? But from a student's point of view, you must analyze, definitely you should know what your strengths are. And you should understand, if you understand what the weaknesses are, don't say we are duo singers, so it doesn't matter. No, that's not what I mean. You still have to work on them and get it rectified.
Do you have something to add? No. There was a question.
I think just on the weakness part of it, I would try to maintain equilibrium, in the sense that the analytics should not really be in terms of strengths and weaknesses. It should simply be areas of improvement. That's about it. Because what is really strength in a voice, or what is weakness in a voice? You know, we're all, end of the day, human beings. Different people have different ranges. MD Ramanathan sir's voice, the highest note ends at a point which is the starting point for somebody like a Madurai Somu, right? But these two were very individualistic voices, and what is important is that you sound like yourself, because the only thing that is your own is your voice. So even when we teach students, the one thing we tell them is, learn from us, but don't sing like us. You have to sing like yourself. That's what is important. You can pick up concepts from us, but do not try to mimic the voice, because mimicking the voice will not work, because ultimately you're wasting. Everybody has a beautiful voice in that own sense, and it is about how you can make that particular voice better. It should never be, if I try to sing like Yeshu Dasetan, and I try to imbibe all of his qualities, I will end up losing the individuality of my voice. So that should never be the case. So try to be equipoised in terms of both the results and the practice involved, because otherwise it can lead to very, very confusing things. You might think that, it is my strength that I'm hitting a bass note. Somebody else might come and say, why are you singing in such a low pitch? Increase your pitch by another 2 semitones. It can get very confusing. So make sure that when you're singing, you're focused on the song. Observe where you're finding difficulties. See if there are ways to improve that. End of the day, it's like a rubber band. There are points beyond which you cannot expand the voice. So make sure, what is more important, however, is if you have 1.5 octaves, sound good in that 1.5 octaves. 1.75 to 2 octaves will happen over a period of time. It is not something that you should keep practicing every morning.
To add one more point to that, which is not specifically relevant to your question, but it is something which we tell ourselves every day, and we tell all of our students, obviously, which is never ever sing to impress somebody else. Because what happens is, it's like the moment you try to do that, you're not your best. The moment you sing for yourself, you are at your best. So why take this extra burden of trying to impress somebody? All right, so that itself takes you a long, long way, and it's easier said than done. It's very easy to fall into that trap. We have to repeat this to ourselves every day.
Right. A question on the same lines: how to maintain our sharira in the time of adolescence, as voice breaks in that time in boys in general?
This is a very important question, especially music students here. One thing our gurus have always told us, and that's the fulcrum of voice culture, okay, is come what may. See, the question is about voice change during adolescence, but be it what, be it whatever it may be. It could be because you have a cough, you have a cold, you have a allergy. The golden rule for voice culture is never strain your voice. Say on a given day your range is Sarigama, if that's your range, there is this line, we call it the line of laziness. Okay? So you don't say, okay, I am happy, I'm singing up to Sa, so why should I unnecessarily try Re, Ga and all? That attitude is wrong. You should definitely try for Re and Ga. But then there is this line of strain. You know for sure that if you cross Ga, you're going to break your voice. But if you make a sankalpa, today I will get up only after singing Male Sthai Panchamam, then you are unnecessarily creating tension in your voice. Remember this, whether it is voice change, whether it is any allergic symptoms, whatever. If you don't strain your voice, the road for recovery is out there. If you strain your voice, the recovery part is very difficult.
Your father being a Mridangam artist, how did Mridangam not influence you?
Not influence you.
How did Laya not influence you? Why didn't you choose to be Mridangam artist?
See, it's a tradition in the Carnatic industry, or not industry, let's say, it's a tradition in the Carnatic music sampradayam, that if somebody shows a spark in singing, then that is always given importance, for the simple reason that then your body becomes the instrument. And not everybody can do that. Right? It doesn't mean that everybody can play the mridangam. That's also equally complicated, if not more. But it's a system. I guess this is from a very, very, this has been passed on from centuries, that because it does wonders to your, when you sing, it does wonders to your body. It does wonders to your breathing. It's pranayama. Yeah. It's yogic. It's meditative. So they all saw the spiritual value of it. So that's one reason. And having said that, both of us have learned the mridangam. We can play a bit of mridangam, but then we had to make a choice between, and that was a very organic thing. Nobody said you have to do this or that.
The 2 classes of mridangam that I did, my decision at the end of the class was to practice singing even harder. So that's why. Sri Krishna is actually, not a lot of people know that he can play quite a few instruments. He can play the harmonium, he can play tabla, he can play the mridangam slightly better than me. I learned to play the, we of course had our small stint for about 2 months with violin as well, until the teacher threatened us and then we left.
Can you recount your first concert?
I don't remember, to be honest, which concert was the formal first concert. But the first time we sang on the stage with mridangam and violin, if you can call that the Arangetram, right? That was during the Tyagaraja Jayanti festival in Trichur, which our father runs. And it was magical, because that was the first time we sat on the stage with, we always sing alone, but as in the two of us sing together without accompaniments. But the brilliance of the components of Carnatic music came to the fore. At that age, I couldn't express this in so many words, but it was amazing. The way the mridangam, violin, ghatam will add to the beauty of vocal singing, it is unbelievable science. So that's the one thing that I distinctly remember. I was just awed that oh wow, we've got Mridangam, violin and Ghatam with us. It felt so good.
Thank you for having made it from Chennai to here exclusively for this purpose, just to be with us this evening. And on a Saturday, singing Hanuman Kriti and showing us how they expand their repertoire, showing us how they practice, telling us about so many insights that have inspired us, like people like me who's been sort of learning music from when I was about 5 years old, but had so many breaks along the way, and I'm still struggling to manage to get a few sessions with Vijaya Madam with my busy obstetrician practice. But today I have myself learned this lesson that it always goes hand in hand. So I'll try my best to inculcate music in everyday life. And I'm sure my sons and my nephews, all the youngsters here have imbibed that very lesson. Thank you so much for being here today with us and seeking divine blessings that Almighty blesses you with many, many more meaningful musical journeys along the way. Thank you so much for being with us.